Hello everyone, we decided to diversify our content with a reaction video. And we have a fabulous cash poker festival going on right now on Triton, where Linus is playing against people, most of which are unknown to us. And I hope Avr0ra High Stakes Regular is gonna help us with that. Hello Alexei. Hello. So who are those people? I know one of them, Phua, but the rest, who are they? Some businessmen, is it correct? No, not at all. First of all, this festival took place in August, so it's finished already. And Linus was only invited for one day. He actually lost some money and we decided to go over his hands. First of all, we really like Linus. And second, it's offline, it's an interesting format, I think. And no, it's not Phua and Linus and a bunch of businessmen. Phua is a famous guy, of course, and there are many really strong players, I think you just don't know them. And when we will go over some Linus's hands and he will face one of those, I will tell you a little bit about his opponents. For example, on the right from Phua is a very good Chinese regular, as we figured out while watching this video. And I don't remember his name, but it will come back to me during the review, I think. So we marked all of the Linus's hands, and yeah, because of our clickbait thumbnail, you already know how much he lost. But anyways, we will go over all of his hands, and just like in GTO Wizard, we're gonna give each an assessment, like standard play or a big mistake, a blunder, and so on. And of course, Linus is much better than I am and BRD combined and multiplied. But he is in action, he has not so much time to make a decision, and here we are having all the time in the world to analyze his play. Plus we are rewatching it, so we have already seen all of his hands. So yeah, I think we are able to give a competent assessment to his plays. And we both have tons of hours in cash poker. Okay, so we have 1k, 2k blinds and an ante of 1 big blind, which is posted by the big blind again, I believe. Yeah, but it doesn't really make any difference, so it's the same as your standard ante game. It's just always different person who puts this 1 big blind ante, and it doesn't affect the math at all. Alright, here's our guy. He opens ace-5 suited 2.5x in the cutoff. Button has king 10 off, he has some options, but he decides to call. And Dini, by the way, is a recreational player. And on the big blind, I still believe it's a fold. I have to mention that they are playing without any rake involved. So the ranges are much wider than your standard NL100 ranges, for example. So you are allowed to play more hands. Both Linus opponents in this hand are businessmen and recreational players. Andini is a more advanced player, he has a lot of offline practice and he played every day during this festival and ended up winning some money, I believe. And Jozo is your typical recreational player. It is clear that the guy is loaded. At some point he even asked his daughter or his wife to play instead of him. Yeah, these stakes are clearly too low for him. In terms of pre-flop, standard open for Linus, not a terrible call for Andy. It's actually an okay call in ante games. And Joe was supposed to fold his hand, but he decided to play it. Who can blame him for that? As they usually say in offline games, we are all equal before the flop. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Button hits top 2 pair and Linus is in trouble. As far as I know, Linus loves checking in multi-way pots, or at least he has a wide check-in range. Well, probably it was a myth. I mean, one guy told us about that and we were trying to figure it out, and in the end it turned out that probably it's not true. But at this spot specifically, his hand is a standard check, he likes to see a check down, he has some backdoor potential, and he will only put money into the pot if he improves in some ways. So yeah, standard check for any decent player. I don't think we will see a check from the button though. I don't remember this hand specifically, I remember some big hands, some highlights, and there are a lot of standard non-interesting hands, but we decided to go over each one of those anyways, to see exactly what he does. So Andy bets a little less than half pot. And the big blind thinks. He calls, by the way, double belly buster for the big blind. Okay, no more Linus in this hand. Should we finish it anyways? I think we should go to the next hand, because there are a lot of hands here where Linus folds on the flop, and if we will go over each one of those to the end, the video is going to be way too long. Well, maybe we can speed it up to show viewers how it ends. And by the way, in this hand, Linus gets 2 yellow check marks. So this is the first hand of I don't know how many, let's say like this, this is the first of 32. And yeah, this one was played perfectly, so double green mark here. So yeah, let's speed it up. I believe you can c-bet here with a low frequency in Linus's shoes. Yeah, speed it up and go from there. Just for the people to see how it ends, and I don't remember this hand, I don't remember how it ends. Joe hits his straight on the turn and we see the double check. Oh my god. It's going to be tough for the recreational player to get out of this hand. And yeah, he plays it safe, he checks, probably to not face a raise, and yeah, he pays one more bet and that's it. Yeah, it seems like people are playing quite safe overall, and it is the first day of the festival. Yeah, and from what I've seen, people were trying really hard. Oh, yeah, of course, so Joe paid one more bet. Linus played perfectly, and we move to the next hand. We're not going to see every hand. In some of those, Linus was just gathering information, and yeah, it would be too much. And yeah, as always, Linus looks just amazing. He is always immaculate on all of those big events. Oh yeah, he's probably trying to look like those businessmen. Or like the guy from GTA Vice City with this shirt. It did help him though, because he was allowed to play 1 day only. He probably wanted to play more, but yeah, only 1 day for you, sir, and for us to watch him play. Yeah, the guys just wanted to hit and run Linus. Oh, Cole has an important call. So hand number 2. Paul, I believe, folds his 6-4, and by the way, this is the new format, mystery format, that they use on Triton. We don't see the hands before. And yes, Beardy and I, we have already seen the hands, so we can't like guess with you. But at least we can talk about the ranges. And then, during the hand, we will at some point reveal what Linus has and discuss his options with the hand. What he can do with it and so on. So Linus opens the cutoff, or is it hijack? I can't tell, but anyways, he is going to raise like at least 30% of hands in these positions. Maybe even more. Yeah, sure. And notice that Joe has an incomplete stack. He has less than 100 BBs. So with ante, it's like playing 50 BBs effective. And Joe 3-bets. Not a big 3-bet, he could have raised more, but considering he has a short stack, I believe it's fine to raise this much. Well, probably Joe decided to induce with his pocket kings, king kongs. Linus should call really wide here, he only has to put 11k more to fight for a pot of 36k. So the potters are great, he is in position against a recreational player. Any suited ace, any, well, let's say any playable hand, anything that can hit something decent on the flop. Or maybe we can fold some poor offsuit hands, and since GTO Wizard is now our partner, let's use it. I don't really like sizings in these solutions, but it is a GTO solution after all, and just to have some solution in front of us, let's take a look. Linus is supposed to raise here 27%, but he will of course raise wider, he will raise more. I don't think you see all the matrix here, but yeah, he also raises offsuit aces. This is how a small blind should respond, the size is different. Here we have 11.5, he raised 9 big blinds, and of course the range is going to be different. He's raising like, I don't know, 5% tops. And the distribution is also different, all the top hands and some bluffs. Anyways, we just want to see how it works in theory, and GTO Wizard suggests a quite wide defend here, even against a GTO play. He has to fold 50% against 11.5, but our guy raises 8 BBs, and his range of course is stronger, but he is also a recreational player, so it's easier to play against him post-flop. So I think Linus calls all the suited aces, all the pocket pairs, and all the suited connectors. Does this calculation take rake into consideration? Oh no rake here. Yeah, two key things, antes and a rake. Yeah, anyways, Linus is going to play much wider because, as I said before, the sizing is different here, it is smaller in the game, and the range is also different, but at the same time the guy is a recreational player. So yeah, I believe he's going to defend all the suited aces, and yeah, it's good that we have an opportunity to check out those GTO ranges. So Linus calls. Should I reveal Linus's hand now? Oh no, I think it would be more interesting to work with ranges. Okay, the board is 7-6-5, and if Joe had a deeper stack, I think he should have check raised a lot, but here I believe it's better for him to just bet big on the flop and then shove on many turns. Although check raising is also fine. Yeah, check is a decent option here. Yeah, being shorter actually helps Joe here, because of the smaller SPR on the turn. Yes, I agree, so Joe starts with the check, and Linus, I believe, checks back. Or maybe he bets, I don't remember actually. He can bet quite wide here, because out of position player should check fold a lot. Yeah, he bets. He bets small, a third of the pot, so he builds his range around middle strength hands. Hands like pocket tens, a pair plus draws. And yeah, of course he has some stronger hands as well, like sets and straights in this range. And some draws, hands like ace-8, ace-4, maybe. And it's not necessary to bet all of those hands against a recreational player, but we don't expect him to check raise a lot. I think that we mostly will see check calls or check folds, but in this case Joe decided to check raise. What's really great about Triton is that everyone plays really fast. And believe me, it's great. I'm the guy who played in Macau. And in Macau, everyone would have been taking his time, especially in tournaments. So yeah, it's amazing. And Joe check mean raises. How many bluffs do you think Rec has in this range? None. Well, he can have some random medium strength hands. I don't know, hands like ace-7. If he decides to 3-bet it pre-flop, we don't know what ranges he uses. And yeah, here we see that Joe has pocket kings, but if I was in Linus's shoes, not knowing what Joe has, I would assume that he doesn't have a strong hand. Some mid-strength hand that he for some reason decided to min raise. I would include kings in his range. And yeah, the pot odds are amazing here for us, so we basically should call everything that we decided to bet in the first place. I mean, if for some reason we decided to bet like ace-queen offsuit, then I would fold it. Well, I wouldn't bet it in the first place, but anyways. So yeah, everything we bet we want to call. The pot odds are just way too good. So yeah, everything Linus has in his betting range should see the turn. If he decided to bet like ace-5 to get some value from ace-king, ace-queen, he should also call. Joe should have raised a bit more, I think, to comfortably shove on the turn, but we have what we have. Deuce on the turn, and here I believe it is really important for Joe to bet big. There are a lot of hands like pair plus draw, and yeah, I think it's better to shove actually. If Linus has pocket eights, well, go ahead and fold it. We don't care. Look, if we decided to check raise the flop, can't we check raise the turn again? Or we simply allow him to realize his equity? Yeah, I think he would just check back a lot to realize his equity. Yeah, it looks like overdoing it. Joe bets a little less than half pot, and he still represents some mid-strength hand. Something like a7 or a hand that is a little bit stronger than a7. Not kings though. Well, the size is bigger now, so I'm not calling, by the way, nice screenshot of Linus we have here. I'm not calling ace-5 anymore, but I would still call all the draws, all those pair plus open-enders. If we have like pocket tens, should we go all in now? Well, it's tough to say, but probably it's okay, if we want to. But we can also call again. He can have some better hands. It's our second hand against the guy, so we know nothing about him. Not as easy of a decision for Linus as it may seem. I actually don't remember his hand here. Oh, I do. And the following street is going to be spicy. Well, to me the key combo here is ace-5, whether we should call it or not. I would not. Well, to me it's a standard hand against a top regular. I believe everyone had this type of hands in his career. Well, probably in theory it's a good call with ace-5 against a recreational player who can have a lot of bluffs, and we have a 3 on the river. Well, we probably should shove here. I think now we are starting to realize what he has. Yeah, I also remembered. So what should Joe do here? Let's think. How does it look like from his perspective? The SPR is less than 0.5. Well, I believe we should just shove. Yeah, the range is quite wide, and if we take a look at our equity... By the way, a little spoiler here, Joe is going to check call, and why check calling is bad. The thing is that Linus is not betting hands that are weaker than kings. He's definitely value betting all the hands that are stronger, and what do we expect him to bluff? He may not even bluff ace-8, there's no flush draw on the board. Or maybe, yeah, 10-8 suited is a good example, but that's only 4 combos. Well, jack-8 suited, but not sure that he defends it pre-flop. And imagine all those 10s jacks that he checks back. Yeah, but would he call those hands? Well, maybe he would. When I was talking about ace-5 on the turn, this is probably the point in the hand where we have to decide either we call to the end or we fold right now. So yeah, he can easily get some value from weaker hands. However, he checks. English commentators are explaining the hand, I don't remember what they were saying, but this is our job today. So, guess what he has? Well, I don't think Joe is contemplating a fold with pocket kings. Oh, no, I believe he was choosing between betting himself or check calling. It's really tough to fold kings here. And he should have shoved. The spot is not great for us anyways, so we are choosing the lesser of 2 evils. And we want to shove, hoping that Linus calls with like pocket tens or ace-7 suited. Yeah, Joe probably didn't want Linus to fold a hand like that. And Linus jams. Well, everything that Linus represents here is stronger than pocket kings. Can we beat something in his value range? Probably not. I believe Linus would never bet for value anything that is worse than kings, or maybe queens sometimes, although he would mostly shove those on turn. We do beat some bluffs, 10-8 suited, jack-8 suited, but those are not enough to call. Yeah, and the key point here is that Linus is in position. So when Joe bets, Linus has 4x combos, all these sets, 8-9 combos. Yeah, forwards, he would also slow play all of his sets definitely till the end. So yeah, not a great spot for Joe. So now we check and he shoves and we have to count combos. I don't want to do that really, but it seems that it's not enough. Not enough for us to call. Yeah, this is why I think we should have played it faster, maybe shoved on the turn, because a 3, to be honest, is not that bad of a run out for us. Ace-4 is what Linus shows. And it may seem for our viewers that Linus played it a bit loosely, but it's perfect actually on every street. Or maybe we shouldn't bet the flop always, because we bet to fold out ace-kings and ace-queens and he wouldn't fold it right away, but we can easily bet twice, so yeah, this one is also perfect. 2 green check marks. What about the turn call? Well, our ace-outs are pretty much alive, and we have some implied odds. Yeah, I think it's fine. Maybe we give Linus 1 green check mark here, because there are some different options, different ways to play it, but it's still totally fine, and yeah, 2 out of 2 for now.
Take your game to the next level with GTO Wizard. Practice against GTO on all your devices. Study any situation using our revolutionary AI-powered solver. Upload your hand histories to uncover your biggest leaks. We have hundreds of hours of coaching from top pros, cutting-edge theory articles, and custom study plans to help guide your poker journey. GTO Wizard, the #1 app for poker players.
Okay, Linus on small blind, and this is the interesting one. A 9-4 offsuit, he decides to open limp, then Andy raises, and Linus folds. And you can open limp here quite wide, but even still, a 9-4 offsuit, in my opinion, is miles away from open limping a threshold. I mean, I can imagine opening 9-5 offsuit because of the antes and because of the skill advantage, or maybe assuming that you can outplay your opponent pretty much on every street. But 9-4, yeah, I believe this is too much, but of course Linus knows best. Well, I wouldn't say so. I don't know if you see the ranges that I'm showing, but even here 9-4 is on the border. I mean, this is the first hand that we fold. We can actually limp a lot of hands because of the antes, as you said, and we also have skill advantage, so it's not a blunder, definitely. We can label it as inaccuracy, like this yellow sign that GTO Wizard uses. But there are some arguments to open limp 9-4. Okay, then I have a question for you. Offline players often say that there is a certain dynamics at the table, and if you're card dead and you fold a lot, you have to widen up your opening ranges a little bit. What do you think about it? Oh yeah, it's fine, it's totally fine, why not? There is some point in it. I mean, we can't measure it, we can say how good or bad that is exactly, but all in all, I wouldn't say it is a mistake. Well, maybe this is what Linus was doing here. He was trying to widen up his range. Well, I don't know. It is a break-even limp in the first place, and the opponent is supposed to raise 40%. And yeah, he probably will raise 40%. We have an aggressive recreational player in the big blind. He can even raise some more. So yeah, not the greatest open limp in the world, but it's okay. It is a little wider that he is supposed to open in this position. Okay, let's move on. This was the third hand, and here we mark it as an inaccuracy, this yellow sign. But the EV loss here is very low. Okay, next hand. Joe is probably going to play. Oh no, he folded King 8 in the cutoff. Quite a cautious rec. Okay, button raises ST1. As we figured out, it is a very strong rec, although I didn't know that when I was watching the first day. And Linus has ace 9 suited with 150 BBs effective, but with antes it's like 100 BBs. Yeah, because of antes we have 2.5 BBs in the middle, so the effective stacks are a little smaller. Linus decides to 3-bet. There are different ways of playing this hand. If we take a look in GTO Wizard, let's even go for 150 stacks. I believe the program uses large sizings in this spot, but let's see. Oh yeah, 17 blinds. Of course we don't 3-bet ace-9 suited when we 3-bet that big. We have a more polar strategy here. Linus did 3-bet 13 blinds, so he has a wider, more linear range. But even then it is probably a little bit too loose, but Stefan would also 3-bet here pretty much every time. It's just a style of play. You can construct your 3-betting range differently. And I don't like what GTO Wizard suggests here. I also like to 3-bet more linearly. I would 3-bet more with ace-jack, for example, and use a smaller sizing. This is what I'm used to. So yeah, maybe not a great 3-bet according to solvers, but it's totally fine. We can easily put a green mark here. And he takes the pot. Yeah, and he probably assumes that button has a wide opening range, and the wider he raises, the more we can 3-bet against that. Yeah, and he should open wide here. 5 deuce is not a bad 3-bet actually with antes. So yeah, there's nothing to talk about here actually. It is a well-played hand. The only question is that probably some of our viewers might think that it is a mistake, because solver does not open this hand, but it's fine. Yeah, it's an old-school 3-bet. Yeah, exactly, pretty basic old-school 3-bet. Oh, this one is interesting. Phua opens ace-jack offsuit UTG, Linus 3-bets with the same hand. And yeah, it's a standard sized 3-bet 3x. Effective stack is around 110. All in all, nothing special here. Some people might think that this 3-bet is a little too wide, but it's not. It is totally fine. I would say even it is a standard 3-bet. It is actually a mandatory 3-bet. Yeah, I agree. Well, especially in a rake-free game. With rake, we can consider other options, but yeah. Rake-free, we certainly want to 3-bet. And Paul folded his hand. It's a great fold, actually. Yes, when I saw this fold from him, I realized that Paul, this game is totally in the zone. He knows what he's doing, he doesn't want to play a mediocre hand out of position against one of the greatest players of all time, so it's a good fold. Yeah, and let me show you. And again, I don't really like GTO Wizard ranges, but even here it is a fold. And we have 10 blinds 3-bet here. What did we have there? I think the difference should be quite big. Oh, 10 blinds? Well, 10 is not that big. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, it's a fine fold. It is not a mistake, definitely. Yeah, I agree. Phua, after all, is not a professional player. He's 4-betting less often and he wants some advantage post-flop in terms of ranges, with all the respect to Mr. Paul. And the opening range is a bit wider. Well, not necessarily, but yeah. And it's easier to realize equity in position. I mean, because Linus is in position against a recreational player, so yeah, we don't need to justify it, it's just a fine play. So yeah, definitely a green check mark. Raising ace queen, and a main U for Linus. He chose what he's going to eat during the game. Phua probably should defend here. I don't remember the hand, but yeah, let's see. Not necessary to always c-bet here. I would probably either bet 30% or check, or you can bet half pot. Well, neither of those is a mistake. Linus decided to block bet. Yeah, why not? Third of the pot, a little less than third. And again, nothing to discuss here. If we know that villain is under a check raising, that we definitely want to bet more. If he's aggressive, then we want to check more. I mean, in theory, we probably should mix with this hand, ace queen. Sometimes bet, sometimes check, and probably machine would not like betting always, but in practice, I'm sure it is fine. Especially against Paul, who is not probably going to find 20% check raises. He's supposed to find in theory. Yeah, definitely a green mark. Yeah, and we saw that Phua is not going to give anything away for free. No shaky calls with backdoor draws, just fold this one and look for another one. Okay, Linus on the big blind. Yeah, we will skip those where nothing interesting happens. Yeah, BRD suggested we cut only the interesting hands, but I wanted to look at everything. Raise and call, and I believe Linus will now decide whether he wants to overcall this or squeeze. Oh, Paul also joins, okay. Everyone called. Yeah, ace-9, Linus overcalls, well, in terms of playability, not the greatest hand, but there are no other options, basically. Four-way pot it is. Yeah, we're playing four-way, and Linus starts with the check. And a c-bet from Joe. Well, it's not a c-bet, it's a pro bet. Oh yeah, Aaron opened this one with a 4-3 suited. Well, I don't see any options for Paul here. Aaron jump, by the way, is a very strong regular, and I'd say wide open, but you know, you're playing on TV. Yeah, and stacks are a bit deeper. His nickname on stars is John MC Chen. An old school rec, when I was playing NL50 and NL100, he was already playing high stakes. He was born in China, but he moved with his parents to Great Britain in a very young age. So he is a Europeanized Asian, or I don't know how you call it. It's interesting what was Phua thinking about with King 10 here for so long. Oh, I don't know. Well, maybe he felt, he knew somehow that King is going to come on the turn. Maybe he had a signal from the dealer. And yeah, I think it's possible to justify this open with a 4-3 suited rake-free game. Oh, no, it's a bad one. I mean, it is probably acceptable because they are playing on TV, but yeah, what do we expect to get here? We are playing against a weak lineup, so we open 4-3 suited, get 3 calls, and we have a 4-high flush draw on the flop. Yeah, that's great. Let's realize our equity. And we somehow got to the end of the hand. Cutoff did bet eventually, right? Well, I don't know, I was thinking about 4-3 open. Yeah, he did bet, and Aaron actually called his bet. So yeah, he was punished for this wide open. It's not an open in equilibrium, let me show you. I mean, I'm not sure if Wizard calculates EVs correctly here. Probably not. Yeah, and there's no rake here as well. Oh, no, it is a rake-free calculation. It's a special calculation. You have to pay extra for this one, but we got it for free because we are partners now. We advertise it. Anyways, against a weaker lineup, this raise is even worse, because this hand is very vulnerable to multi-way spots. And this is a very good example that we will have a lot of multi-way pots with this lineup. Even Linus calls on the big blind, so yeah, it's really tough to realize equity with this hand. And we give another green mark for Linus here. He did play it well. We can call it pre-flop, and we can't call it post-flop. Yeah. We can only hope that the dealer shuffled the deck not too well, and there are still some 9s left on the top of the deck from the previous hand. Here's a new guy at the table. Everyone thought he's a recreational player, but actually he is cool 1992. Professional player from mine times, the biggest rival of Avr0ra back in the day. He's not playing for a very long time. He's now a billionaire thanks to cryptocurrency. So he's living a life, and I think he's going to be quite good at this table. A little off topic here. Well, at least he can show the power of the old school. Well, too old of a school actually, but yeah. But we are here to watch Linus. Last time Joe folded King A suited, now he folded Ace 8 offsuit. ST1 opens King 8 on the cutoff. It's a fine raise, actually. Let's check it out. How much respect does he have for the table? Well, a little wider than the equilibrium, but yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah, there are some arguments for raising wider. Yeah, like a recreational on the small blind. So yeah, it's pretty basic. Pocket 3, so we can call. I think it's a mandatory call actually with antes, and a rec on the big blind also helps a lot. So yeah, definitely a plus EV call. What do you think about this 9-8 call? I think it's a bit too much. No, it's okay. It's okay to call these connectors with such good pot odds. The pot odds here are actually amazing, and I can show you. I can show you the simulation. The machine will show, I'm sure, that it is a fine call, but I don't really like it against a strong lineup. Oh, it keeps on loading. Well, I believe we want to shift our calling range towards the broadways, like more playable hands multi-way. Well, ante is a big deal. In the games you play offline, it's a fold, but look what ante does to the calling range. I don't know how it calculates those three-way spots, but yeah, I would say that 9-7 is a bad call. Queen 8, all those weak suited hands like 10 deuce, 6 deuce and so on. It's really tough to realize our equity with those hands. So yeah, in terms of human play, it is a bet range. But 9-8 is okay. It's a clear call here, 0.15, it's a lot. But in practice, I think it would be like around break-even. But in the end of the day, we have a recreational player who came to play for fun, who came to enjoy the game, and it's tough to fold a connector in these conditions. Yeah, this isn't what we came here for. And I don't really expect Linus to make a mistake here, so we can put a green mark here as well. And you should probably start recording this stuff, because I already forgot what the score is. Oh yeah, I don't remember either, so yeah, maybe we can catch up a little later. Okay, let's finish the hand. 7 of clubs on the turn, and yeah, again, Linus played perfectly. I expect both players to check here. I don't think we should put in money with King 8. Well, maybe if Andy is a passive player, we can put some money here, like half pot, and then check on the river, but Andy is more aggressive, I believe. So yeah, he did check ST Wang, and we have a king on the river. By the way, please make the webcams a little bigger on the screen here, so that we don't get banned on YouTube. Okay, so what size do we want to bet here? I usually bet bigger, so I can easily bet fold against the rec and not get into any leveling wars. Yeah, I like betting big to not induce any bluff raises. 21 into 28, I believe. No, 21 into 38. Oh yeah, this is quite small. So he's not afraid of facing a check raise. Well, it's up to him. In the end of the day, anything from half pot to 3/4 is totally fine here. And Andy thinks. And folds. That's a great fold. I think it's a good size against a recreational player to get some thin value. Yeah, it's not a mistake totally, it's just what I like to do here. Oh, it's about preferences. Okay, you go. The last hand was also perfect. Yet another big blind for Linus. UTG raises with Queen 8 suited. And we wait for Linus' turn. We are going to defend here on the big blind. Phua folds, 6-5 offsuit on the big blind. I think Sims will allow us to call this hand. Yeah, it's definitely a call. Yeah, we want to defend quite wide. I expect UTG to bet a lot on this board. We have a flush draw here, we have mid-value hands, we have 2 pairs, we have sets, you name it. And a standard call for Linus. Well, up until now everything is standard and I don't have anything to say. And we have our favorite combo, a double belly buster. Well, there is something to say on the flop. We can check raise this hand. It's not a mandatory call. As you've mentioned yourself, Willen is supposed to bet here really aggressively. Well, I meant we never folded. Yeah, and if we want to check raise, we want to check raise big, like 4x, I believe is the size we want to choose on those ace-x boards, according to the solver. A bold play from Andy. Yeah, he bets again with second pair. It reminds me of Stefan. He's the guy to use such lines. Oh no, he's not doing that anymore. Oh, I do remember a hand, I believe against Linus, where Stefan did decide to bet again with second pair. And the board paired on the river and he's supposed to not have any trips in his range. But he did have one. Yeah, he did, and this hand is just really fresh in my mind. Okay, and here I don't really like the way Linus played it. I mean, when a recreational player bets on the flop and then on the double flush draw turn, he bets again, he uses this weird size of half pot, I think we can give him some action. I believe Linus gave too much respect to his opponent in this spot. Yeah, I think he could have made a big check raise, but in terms of our outs, they're not clean. We don't get value if we hit a straight and a flush draw completes. So yeah, I can get behind his decision to fold. Yeah, but it looks really weak, this line from Andy, and of course I do see his hand. It's easier for me to say, and I'm interpreting it my way. I mean, I can't be totally objective here. I will be subjective in the end of the day. But I do believe he gave him too much respect, and he should have raised the turn. Yeah, it looks totally reasonable. The problem is that our hand is too weak, and probably our viewers would disagree, but for me this line from Andy screams weakness, so I would raise here. And I give Linus a yellow mark. But then again, he just won a big pot, and I don't know what stack size the other recreational player has. Maybe there are reasons to play a bit more careful. Oh, take a look at him. He smiles, he enjoys the view, he just ordered something from the menu, he's about to eat, he's fine, he's doing fine. Yeah, why make difficult decisions when life is good and you can just fold? Oh yeah, I agree with that, but it is an inaccuracy, in my opinion. It is subjective, but it's mine. Yeah, I agree, on double flush draw board, this bet really looks weak. Yeah, and after he watches it, I don't think he will be angry at us. He's a nice guy, he's a very good guy. And he would probably agree. Oh yeah, Linus once complimented one of our episodes, so there is a chance he will watch this one. So yeah, during editing, please mark this one as yellow, as in inaccuracy. And the next one is mine. Oh, Alex, wait a second, we're experiencing some problems with the sound. Oh, it's me, I turned it off because someone was knocking here. LLinusLLove opens UTG. LLinusLLove, for those who doesn't know him, is a professional who specializes on offline games. He is playing for quite some time now, but he doesn't have a lot of experience playing online. And his parents are very rich, so yeah, he is good, he's very good technically. But it's clear that he doesn't have a lot of online experience. You can tell by the way he plays. I don't know how to explain it, but these are the things that you feel, that I feel. Like, for example, I can say that ST1 has a big online experience. You can tell it by the way he chooses his sizes and all those little stuff, so yeah, you can feel it. But with LLinusLLove, I can tell that he doesn't play online a lot. Maybe he only played offline in his life, but he's a regular. Oh, there are a lot of offline players who actually never played online. They only developed their game through offline games. Yeah, I don't say it's bad, it's just different. Pocket tens I would probably always squeeze here. I'm not saying that calling is bad, but squeeze is a more preferable option. Okay, what size? 25k? Oh no, 25k is a mistake. We are in position against both of them and we want them to call out of position. So we squeeze linearly. Yeah, but the stacks are deeper. Okay, we don't probably have a good simulation here again, with all due respect to GTO Wizard. But anyways, let's take a look at the simulation. Oh yeah, 13 blinds, it's way too big, and we split tens here, but I'm pretty sure Linus is going to 3-bet less. And the range is more linear. Well, it's interesting, I thought we want to squeeze more. We want to squeeze more out of position. In position we are totally fine if they call. We want to 3-bet more linearly and we want to 3-bet less. If we 3-bet too much, then we force them to play 4-bet or fold, which we don't like. All this technical part could be interesting for those viewers who play offline. So let's see how much he raises. If he raises big, then then everything I said is kind of wrong. It is a possibility that he will raise 22 or 24k. I don't believe it, but let's see. 22, yeah, it's 11 blinds, but still less than 13. The standard would be to 3-bet 10 blinds. He decided to 3-bet one big blind more. And again, against these players, it's not probably a mistake to 3-bet a bit more. Yeah, and the stacks are deep. Those guys are rich. If they want to call, they will call. 22, 24, 26k, whatever. And the stacks are like 200. No, it's 150. So yeah, 13 is way too much, in my opinion, and calling would be also fine. Well, it seems that we want to squeeze tens. Yeah, we do, but we are vulnerable against 4-bets. And this is exactly what we see here, yeah, Elton 4-bets. This is why we don't want to squeeze tens all the time here. And this is why we want to size down. We don't want to force him to play either 4-bet or fold. We want him to call more. And we have to call it now. And by the way, it is a bet 4-bet 150 big blinds deep. It's like your typical offline 4-bet. Well, I think Linus could fold here. Oh no way. Well, Linus never folds those borderline calls against 4-bets. And yeah, the 4-bet is bad in theory as well. Yeah, it is a fold. It's an old school 4-bet maybe. Oh no, even in older days no one used to 4-bet this hand. As I said before, it is your typical offline MTT type of 3-bet or 4-bet, I mean. But it is a mistake, it's a blunder. You want to 4-bet suited hands mostly. And the size is bad, but although, no, it says 3x 4-bet, right? No, the size is good, I'm wrong, sorry. But yeah, anyways, you want to use those borderline hands, those hands that are borderline folds. This is what machine uses as a bluff. King Queen offsuit you never call, but you also never 4-bet. We want to use those suited ace-x hands where we block pocket aces. We want to use hands like king-jack suited, king-10 suited, ace-jack suited, those borderline hands. But yeah, king-queen offsuit is way too low in our range. Ace-queen we sometimes 4-bet, but not king-queen. Yeah, I remember you explaining me that we want to find 4-bets among our calls and not our folds. Yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world to 4-bet this hand, it's not like a catastrophe, but it's not good. Interested in what Linus does here. Oh, no, I'm sure Linus is not folding here. Oh, pure fold here? No, it's not what we're looking for. Yeah, it's a mix in theory, and the EV of calling is not that great, but we have different sizes here. We have 41 against 13 blinds. In reality, it is smaller. And yeah, I'm sure Linus is not folding. I'm almost 100% sure that he's not folding those borderline hands. The way he plays, yeah, he's going to call. I can be wrong, of course, but yeah, I doubt it. There is a risk that he's going to fold. I don't remember this hand exactly, but it could be a fold. Well, if he folds, then it's because of this size. Well, in my opinion, there are reasons to fold. Oh yes, it's true, and it's a mix in theory, but if we know that villain 4-bets wider, then it's a more of a call. But it's again one of those spots where we play a huge pot with an EV of, like, as Invoker used to set, an EV worth a jar of pickles. So the EV of the action is very low, but the variance is huge because of the size of the pot. And the playability of the hand is not that great, so it's tough to realize our equity. And he calls, so I was right in the end, at least here. Yeah, but it took him quite some time to make this decision. Yeah, for us it's easy, we see everything in numbers, but he has to assess his stack, his opponent's stack. It takes at least some time when you play offline. Yeah, and you also want to think about how your opponent plays. Maybe he sees him for the first time. Oh, no, he saw him before, definitely. To the flop we go. Not a good board for tens. You know why this hand is interesting? Because we can fold here right away on the flop. It's a kind of a meme. Oh, it's not a meme actually, we block a lot of potential bluffs. Yeah, it's really hard to win this spot, even with some bluffs here, hands like King Jack, King 10, that he should have in theory. He can easily barrel us off. Well, it also depends on the bet size. And the problem is, if we hit our 10, for example, on turn, it's really hard to get value. We don't have a lot of implied odds, because villain can even check fold hands like pocket aces. I mean, we hit a 10 on the turn, and he check folds his ace, or check call once and then check folds on the turn. So we don't get implied for our 2 outs, which is not a lot if you think of it, but it is actually. It is important if we make him pay with aces when we hit. Linus actually knows how to make thin folds. In one of our episodes we were going over his hand against Barak, where he found this very thin fold. Well, Linus is capable of everything. Some things he does better than others, but he is capable of everything. Oh, I remember this hand, he's not folding, and this is inaccuracy. This size is good from Elton, by the way. So yeah, it's not a mistake, but it is inaccuracy. Elton probably gave away his hand with this size. Oh, no. The previous guy gave away his hand, but yeah, against a regular, it doesn't work like that. Anyways, I don't like this call. I think we should find this thin fold here. We can go over this spot in GTO Wizard. But yeah, I don't really want to make this simulation. And we're not supposed to have this hand in our range in the first place, so yeah, let's skip this one. But yeah, in my experience, I think we should find a thin fold here. And my experience tells me that we should fold pre-flop. No, pre-flop it's fine, but we definitely can fold on the flop. And yeah, now we're in this really deep. And what should Elton do with his hand on this turn? Yeah, that's a big question. I think the solver would bet here. Or check or small bet probably. Yeah, but I don't know what to do here. I don't know. Again, we should choose the lesser of two evils. Well, human experience says that we want to check, but according to the machine, I believe we have to bet. And this is the fun of the situation, that we actually have to bet, or mostly bet, but I think that checking is totally fine. I am not against it at all. Well, maybe it's all about how much button is going to bluff here. If he bluffs a lot against a check, then we don't want to check as much and we want to bet mostly. Don't think so. Yeah, it's a huge 4-bet pot, not an easy job to find those bluffs on the turn. I think we should check to realize our equity. I don't want to bluff trying to fold ace-queen against an offline regular with Linus's image with an SPR less than 1. A solver might bluff tens with an idea of folding out queens, ace-jack suited maybe. But for humans, yeah, I also prefer checking to realize equity. So what do we do on the river? Elton shoves and quickly as well. Well, probably fine shove. I don't really like it as much. It's like we are evaluating ourselves to some extent. Well, we're hoping for like ace-king, ace-10. Yeah, but the ranges are very narrow. And Linus has ace-queen, in his range some slow plays. Yeah, Linus is not the opponent to shove against here. Yeah, it's mostly like he's evaluating himself. I don't know, it's a tough situation in the first place. Maybe we should block bet here, but with an SPR of 0.7, you know, this is the spot where we shouldn't be in the first place. This is what we want to avoid. It's tough to choose the best option, because all the options are bad. I go over different options and everywhere I only see the bad things and pretty much nothing positive. So maybe we even want to check fold here. This is like an old school stuff, but yeah, maybe we should just check fold. Because blocking or check calling or shoving, yeah, we have a lot of cons everywhere and not so many pros. So yeah, everything is bad, and check folding is only bad if Linus decides to turn something like ace-king into a bluff, that he didn't shove pre-flop for some reason. And Linus would never value bet a weaker hand than king-queen here. And the solver again would go crazy if we fold king-queen here. But from human perspective, right, in my opinion, I think check folding is the best option against Linus. Yeah, the key point here I think is that we went out of line with king-queen pre-flop. You know what, you can't check fold here against Stefan. Against top regulars that can play really wide. Against those guys you want to maybe even shove or a block bet call. But against Linus, well, I mean, he can call some borderline hands, but he will never end up with hands like 6-5 suited here. Well, he even considered folding with pocket tens, so yeah. Well, we don't know what he was considering there. Maybe he was just thinking about sizings. But anyways, here he has to fold, I think. What does he beat? He beats some bluffs, but yeah, not too much. Yeah, not a very good spot for Linus as well with this hand. Yeah, I was sure he is going to fold this. Well, I'm not gonna say this was a mistake from Linus, but it's not a perfect play. Let's go with the yellow mark. Okay, yellow mark it is, and you know what? I really do respect the way you see the game and the way you play it, but I think we can consider folding pocket tens pre-flop. Oh, 100 VBs without antes, definitely, yes, but you see, that's a great example actually. Take a look at how thinly the machine is 4-betting here. The size is way too big, but anyways, we 4-bet only the best hand with the best realization. And it's not necessary that villain would 4-bet those. Yeah, and even in this case, it's a borderline call. But we have a spot where villain clearly 4-bets out of line. He 4-bets a hand with poor equity realization. He can also probably 4-bet some of those hands. So yeah, I wouldn't blame Linus for his pre-flop decision. I mean, we can skip it, we can fold it, it's fine, but calling is definitely not a mistake. And you are probably underestimating the fact that they are playing on TV. And you probably should call this for the viewers at least. Although even after calling tens, they didn't invite him for the second day. Okay, a yellow mark for this hand, and we move on. Okay, Joe opens in early position. Linus has pocket jacks on the cutoff. The only option I see here is to 3-bet. In terms of sizing, I think standard 3x, so 18k. Yeah, this is exactly what happens. And then we have pocket queens on the button for Andy. And correct me if I'm wrong, Andy is a regular. No, it's a recreational player, but he's quite aggressive. He knows how to 4-bet at least. And notice that this would be a cold 4-bet. Yeah, this is exactly what is going to happen. It's interesting to me whether we can shove here with pocket queens on the button. Is it an option for us? I mean, it's not nice 150 blinds deep. Well, the solver would definitely not like it. In position, it's more of a small 4-bet. Yeah, but Andy disagrees. He 4-bets big. And what options do we have in Linus's shoes? Yeah, what do you think? Well, for me, it's only one option, but for Linus, I think he has 3 options. Well, in reality, 2. We can't call here. Yeah, Linus probably contemplating shoving here, and we can't call because of the size. It's too big. Yeah, we're out of position, and the SPR is going to be less than 1. Yeah, and Linus shoves eventually. What do you think? Well, he's definitely not afraid to shove. Well, it depends on the button player, of course, but I personally don't like shoving these hands that block a lot of potential bluff 4-bets. All those king jacks and ace jacks. But I personally would fold pre-flop. The size is huge, and when we face a huge size from the recreational player, it usually means that he's not bluffing here. Yeah, I prefer folding jacks. Okay, let me show this. The machine is calling here, but the size is smaller. We have 20 blinds here, and he raised 30 blinds. The difference is huge. Well, I will stand my ground. I still prefer folding here. Well, I saw Andy 4-betting ace-4 offsuit, so he knows how to 4-bet. But one thing to 4-bet after you raised pre-flop, and the other thing cold 4-betting, where you didn't put any money into pot previously. So here it is much harder for Andy to find enough bluffs. And he could have cold-called as well. Oh yeah, it's very popular amongst recreational players. They are totally fine with cold call in different spots. And yeah, in the end of the day, I think it is a mistake from Linus. I mean, if Andy raises and then 4-bets, we never fold. We can shove, we can call, and so on. But against a cold 4-bet, I think it is a fold. And yeah, we did 3-bet against an early position raise in the first place. Well, it's not necessary that the recreational player would think about that stuff. But yeah, the key point is that he didn't open raise in the first place. I saw him 4-betting ace-4 offsuit, but it was after the raise. But here he might call 4-bet like ace-queen offsuit, but it's not enough. It's not enough for us to shove pocket jacks. Yeah, I agree, it's a fold. And yeah, pocket jacks are not that great against ace-king and ace-queen as well. I agree, it's a mistake. By the way, we will fold out ace-queen, but nevertheless, it is a mistake. And what happened next? Well, next we shove and lose. Oh, it's fine, money is not a problem, he has enough. We just reload the magazine. By the way, he played for his own money here. Oh, Linus is in great shape right now, he is doing really well online. So yeah, not a big thing. They decided to run it twice, and I think we can skip this part. On my channel, I'm always saying that it is not important how dealers open the board. First run, we lose. Second, not a lot of chances. This one we also lose, and yeah, time to rebuy. Yeah, basic stuff for the offline play, where you have to go to buy more chips. Yeah. Well, it happens, and of course Linus may have his own arguments, which we know nothing about. Yeah, and again, I'm totally subjective here, but it is a slight mistake, in my opinion. Not a blunder, as you thought, because of the antes and the fact that we are playing against a VIP guy. So it's a close one, but still a mistake. Yeah, I agree, and I want to mention that Linus is not afraid of those close spots. So you're not gonna easily make him fold in those points of indifference. So ST raises early position ace-4 suited, gets called by Paul with pocket threes. I wonder how many chips did he get. Of course you just say how much you want and they bring you the chips. You pay after. Well, squeeze looks great here, ace-queen suited. Calling is an option, but yeah, in terms of human play, I strongly prefer squeezing. 11 blinds is fine. What do other guys do? Mostly fold, I believe. You can 4-bet if you really want to, but yeah, I think it's mostly fold. Ace-4, by the way, is a better 4-bet than king-queen from Tsang from a few hands before. And ST is better as a player. Don't expect Paul to call this hand, he was playing carefully. Oh, it seems that one is going for a 4-bet. Yeah, people putting pressure on Linus. Oh, we're gonna see post-flop here, that's really interesting. Yeah, Chinese guys really attack Linus here. Well, yeah, suited ace, we have to call this, we have to see post-flop. And by the looks of Linus' face, we can see that he's not happy about that. Well, yeah, he only just rebought and he has to play for stacks again. Could be that you have to rebuy once again. It is default stuff, you rebuy, you play one hand, you rebuy again. Well, anyways, you have to call this, you have to. Yeah, I also expect post-flop here. Well, Linus always makes me smile, the way he looks at his hand, the way he acts at the table. ST c-bets, it's a great board for him, he has a lot of king x combos, and for Linus it's an easy call. Well, it's not a perfect spot for him, but one of the best boards he can hope for. Yeah, and we also block ace-king, king-queen. Oh, that's a bad turn. We are not happy about this one, but it's fine, it's fine. We're blocking ace-king still, pocket aces. We are ahead of his bluffs. I mean, we are splitting with his bluffs. This is the more correct way to put it. But we can still beat his bluffs by the river. Like his ace-4s and ace-queens offsuit, for example. And it's definitely not necessary to bluff ace-4 here, it's just that check looks way too weak. Maybe we have to bet. Probably we should put a small bet with all of our range, or almost all of our range. Yeah, I would bet here, but unhappily. Wang is tanking, and eventually block bets. Yeah, it's a very small bet, Linus has to call again. It looks like his flush draw counterfeited, but it's not. He can still win against those splits, he still has outs for a king, for an ace, for a queen even. We can beat like some random rare jacks with the queen. And he definitely may 4-bet pocket jacks, this guy is a strong regular, as I said before. Yeah, because of the antes, the effective stack is around 100 blinds, so yeah, that's a good call. I don't see any other options. Can we see two checks on the river? Well, it's not interesting from this point, I believe. I think Wang should not shove here, by the way. I think the solver would prefer a small bet again, like a small blocking bet. I mean, it looks ridiculous betting small with an SPR of 0.5, but this is how the solver plays. Yeah, this is quite a common thing for a solver to bet small, being out of position. And he shoves eventually, yeah, of course it's an insta call, and they split. Well, it's hard to blame him for this. Yeah, and Linus played this one perfectly. And it may sound weird for our viewers, but actually Linus got lucky here. Because when we call a 4-bet here with this hand, our pot share is lower than 50%. So splitting actually is a good thing for us. The board could have been like a king for 8-4 with 2 spades, and yeah, we would have just folded against the c-bet. So we actually did get lucky. Yeah, and we could have easily ended up buying yet another stack, so yeah, it's good. And literally a minute later, Linus has to play yet another hand. Yeah, they make him work hard here. Okay, Linus with his favorite hand, UTG +1, and of course, we want to play our favorite hand. And we have Andy with King-Queen offsuit on the hijack. He considers the 3-betting here or calling. Well, I expect him to play this hand in some fashion. Well, Andy is a wreck, he probably mostly calls here. No, he 3-bets eventually. And the size is quite big for 100 BB stacks. Almost a 5x 3-bet, 4.5. Okay, so we're heads up against a wreck who just made a quite sizable 3-bet. And out of position, I think we want to 4-bet mostly. I don't see a lot of reasons to call, although maybe Linus can call this like with small frequency. Well, if we know the guy, we should call. I've seen him play other days, and yeah, he's tough. We can definitely slow play against him. Linus 4-bets, the 4-bet is pretty small. Oh no, it's standard. Yeah, I agree, it's standard size, and the villain folds. Okay, the play was absolutely standard, double green check mark here. With deeper stacks, we should definitely 4-bet. With 100 BBs exactly, we can slow play. Yeah, the SPR would be great for post-flop. Yeah, we could have called, but 3-betting is definitely not a mistake. Yeah, our guy has a clear strategy with his favorite hand. Okay, we can take a look at chip count at the moment. Linus is at the very bottom, even though he won a big pot against Joe Doe. He's now sharing the last place basically with him. Minus 170k for now. 170. Well, there was some questionable plays. Well, I think it's a deserved result. Well, I wouldn't say deserved. Well, come on, those jacks hand. I think it was bad, yeah. Well, I do. Well, maybe Linus had more information, and his decision was more informed. Well, actually, I'm not sure. It was more informed than yours. So, okay, another hand with Linus in it, because these are the only hands that we are going to look at. There were some hands where he open folded, but believe me, all the borderline hands he played, so don't worry about it. Ace King now, one of the favorite hands as well. Yeah, and all the table thinks that we are tilting, because we just lost 3 big hands. Not many players can endure that. Oh, we have a mystery card. Well, I first thought that they just didn't catch his hand, and this is why we have this question marks. Oh no, this is their thing, and it's great. I really enjoyed it. I commented, not this day exactly, but some of the other days of this event, and I've had a great time trying to figure out Tony G's hand at some point. Yeah, that's cool. So we have a 3-way spot. Oh, I remember this one. I believe this was between Paul and ST Wong, and Linus just folded on the flop. I wouldn't bet here as well. We want to check and realize our equity. Yeah, great decision. We have a backdoor flush draw, we have 2 overcards, we are in position against both of them. Yeah, this is a clear check. Yeah, with this run out, we don't want to put any extra money into the pot. ST bets, I believe Paul calls and Linus folds, but we will finish this hand because of the mystery card, it's interesting. But we will increase the speed because we have all the Linus hands marked in this video, and it is 9 hours long, by the way. I don't remember what ST Wong has here. Neither do I, and he bets quite big into 2 people. Probably a strong value hand or a strong draw, because he bets into 2 people. So yeah, we're not that happy with Queen 9 on the turn. Well, it feels like we may consider folding. No. We are in position. It is important. Out of position, yeah, I agree. We can fold right away, but not here. Oh, there is a meta here actually. Everyone is trying to bluff Paul Phua. He is like your final boss, you might say. And yeah, ST bets pot again. So he pots twice. I think with busted flush draws he would mostly give up, but with hands like Ace7, King 7, Ace 3, he can definitely bluff. So he has bluffs in his range. We might call here. Queen of Spades is a good card as well. Yeah, I think you can call this one. No Linus involved, so we're not gonna go really deep. But considering how those guys play, I think, yeah, you can call. Let's see. Hope he's not gonna tank for too long. Skip a little. Okay, he's tanking for quite some time now. I would call here, yeah. If I was a reg in Paul's shoes, yeah, well, against ST I would also call. Yeah, it's a call. I would mostly hope for hands like Ace7, King7, Ace3, King7 suited, well, without a flush draw, of course. So he calls and it's jacks. Yeah, what can you do? There are some bluffs as well. I would also call. Paul is set, or no? Yeah, he's smiling now. Yeah, why is sitting there for like 2 hours to then fold a top pair on the river? Yeah, no one would fold it, right? Yeah. So if you think you would play it better, well, think again. Okay, it's your turn now. So, 4-3 suited on the button for Linus, standard raise, for now everything is perfect technically, and King-Jack on the small blind, he can call, he can raise, I don't expect him to fold here, yeah, it's a fine call, and overcall on the big blind. Well, for now everything is in line. You don't have other options actually on the big blind with this hand, and we flop a flush draw. Okay, so what options do we have here? If both of them check, we can bet, we can c-bet, or we can check back as well, to have some flushes in our checking range. The thing is that when you check a flush draw on the flop, people don't really believe that you can have a flush when a flush draw completes. He c-bets, yeah, standard. Well, it's not super standard, you can definitely check this hand, but it's okay. Yeah, there is a point in checking, but we can't blame Linus for his c-bet. Turn, I feel we always overbet here. Brick turn, we improved our equity, but it's not obvious. 36k in the pot, yeah, we can definitely overbet here. Our range is uncapped, while a villain has a lot of 8x combos, 9x combos, weak ace-x combos, some gut shots. In an anti-rake-free game, big blind defense range is very wide, so yeah, a lot of hands we can fold out. Okay, 45 into 36. By the way, I didn't know he made an overbet here. It's just, but yeah, it was expected. I think we make him fold a7, what do you think? Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, and 7 is also a tainted out, because it completes Jack 10, it's a lower 2 pair. Yeah, 7 is not that great. Well, if we want to fold some ace-x combos here, this is the one. Yeah, I think it is a close spot, and in a close spot against a top rec we want to fold. Well, it's not a close spot. It's a fold, in theory. Well, don't forget, it's a rake-free game. A rake-free affects pre-flop ranges. But here I'm sure it's a fold. It's not a very bad call. I mean, it's not a blunder. We're not losing tons of value, but it is a fold after all. This is the worst ace we can have. Any other one would be better. Okay, 8 paired on the river, and I don't think Linus would ever continue bluffing on this run out. Yeah, and we have showdown value, we beat king high flush draws. Well, 8 and 9 probably the best runouts for Elton here, beside the obvious one, which is ace, but it's definitely better than a7, because Linus would continue bluffing into 7, but not into 8 or 9. Yeah, but 7 is not that great for Elton here. So yeah, this one was played great. 2 green check marks again. Yeah, we definitely can't blame him for this flop c-bet and for his overbet on the turn. Oh, it seems like even 2 episodes is not going to be enough for this one. But even those small hands are interesting, don't you think? Oh, we can make 3 if you want to. Yeah, let's try. Let's see how people react. This is how I think. The more episodes we make, the more ads we can put in. You shouldn't cut this one out. It's funny. So the viewers know who is behind all of that. Yeah, behind all of those ads in every episode. Yeah, the one who puts it everywhere. Okay, now it's my turn. Oh, this one is probably the very next hand. Oh, it was an interesting hand, by the way. Yeah, it was a good one and definitely played perfectly by Linus. For now, in the first part, he's doing just great. Well, beside this pocket tens hand. Well, hands for now is playing totally old school style. Oh, why did you mark this one? He just stolen the blinds, I believe. Oh, it's a fine race from the cutoff. We can just skip it. Oh, no, let's show it. Since we've decided to go over all of the hands, let's go over all of the hands. Well, ace-3 is glitching a little bit, but this is ace-3 actually. Well, I think the mechanics for those blows of today's is pretty much the same. So yeah, it's a bit wider, but it's fine. Well, at least it's not ace-6, right? Ace-3 is better. Well, I think to open ace-6 here is not a mistake as well. Chip count again, we are far behind. Yeah, and even worse now. Oh, I skipped too much, I believe. So Linus is not rebuying. No more money left. Oh, I'm sorry guys, for everyone who's watching. A lot of spoilers here from me. Sorry again. And it's your turn. Okay, Phua on the small blind. Old school guy, he completes, yeah, why not? Linus is not rebuying, so he has an incomplete stack here. And he raises 4 blinds with 7-6. Well, everything is fine for now. We can raise this. Paul, of course, can limp call this one. So, yeah, we go to the flop. Linus is in position. Let's see. Okay, we connect with an 8. We connect with a 3. I think it's a standard c-bet. Well, it's not a mandatory c-bet. We can definitely delay this hand. Well, yeah, maybe, but I think there are a lot of hands in his limp calling range that has a decent pot share that he would also fold against a c-bet. But check is also fine, of course. Well, you know, Jack a3 is not like Queen 7 deuce. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's like, you know, it's those Pecker-Stas basics. We raised pre-flop, we c-bet into a recreational player. But I agree, and we have a 7 on the turn. Well, 7 does not improve our fold equity here, and we would love to check this one down, but I don't think we will have an opportunity. Yeah, Paul bets 8k and it's a nasty spot. Yeah, it is nasty. I think Linus would lean towards calling. There is a possible redraw with 1 heart, well, which is exactly what Paul has. And yeah, on TV, I think Linus has to pay this off. But let's see. Oh no, he folds. Well, maybe it's because Paul Phua was playing really cautiously this whole time. Oh, I think it's a good fold, just a good fold. Yeah, I agree, there are some arguments for calling, but I agree, it's a fine fold. The thing is that the value of this hand, of this call on the turn, comes not only from us having a 7 and some outs, but also from the spots where we have like, I don't know, Queen of Hearts on the river and then we bluff. So basically we would also bluff on 4 straight rivers, 4 flush rivers. But here we just lost a couple of big pots and our image is not that great to make those bluffs. So we kinda lose this value. Yeah, it's a small thing, but the EV of our bluffs goes down, because everyone thinks that we're tilting, and we are Linus after all, we like to bluff. Yeah, and we were discussing this stuff with you before. In a spot like that, our best EV line is to check down. And when we face a bet on the turn, this is already not the best line for our hand. Yeah, but this solver would probably still call, because we can actually turn this hand into a bluff on some straight 4 flush river cards. But yeah, I agree, I like this fold. Yeah, me too. I even like raising more than calling here. Yeah, and if Linus calls down here against an 8, he would probably really go tilting after that. Oh, and congratulate us, we just made it to the first break. And let's see the chip count for now. We are far behind. Why don't we add on? Why don't we buy a full 100 BB stack? How come he doesn't have money to top up? Oh, he does, he does. Well, we have two online breaks, position 4 and position 8, and both don't have full stack. This is exactly how I feel when playing offline. What do you think? A couple more? Yeah, sure. We are closing out on hour and a half. Okay, looking for the next Linus hand. Oh, a new person at the table. Oh yeah, she's a friend or a daughter of Joe, because she's just playing at his spot for his chips. She's not rebuying or anything, she just took his place and is playing for his money. Okay, ace 10. We are head over heels into it now, and we raise 2.5. Oh, Linus Avr0ra is just so based. And he decides to take a look at the flop with 4 deuce. Yeah, why not? He has the right to. I mean, not in theory, but because he's way too rich. Well, that's a better spot for a c-bet, because the board is more aesthetic and is good for us, but still he decides to check. Well, it's also fine. Well, maybe the thing about Linus checking multi-way spots is not wrong after all. Oh, that's an amazing turn card. I would overbet, well, not overbet, but bet big here. Always bet big. We increase the pot in case we hit recreational in the pot, so yeah, we want to bet big. We also put a lot of pressure on hands like pocket eights. Oh, I believe he wants to overbet. Oh, it is an overbet. Look at me, reading the game really well today. But I've been playing with Linus the same tables for like 10 years. Oh, he's so good. Yeah, but totally 2 green marks for Linus here. Standard hand, not a tough one, but yeah, anyways. Your turn. Okay, raise from early position from ST1. Elizabeth Chan has 10 for it's a fold. 7 deuce on the small blind, I think we know what's going to happen. And finally Linus with ace 4 offsuit on the big blind. You can definitely call this one. We are dominated, but we are yet to know. We started with a check. I think we can expect a c-bet here. Pot is 15k and he c-bets 8k. A little more than a half of the pot. What options does Linus have here? I think he would call eventually, but we can also raise. Although our starting stack for this hand is less than 100 BBs. So what, we can still raise. Yeah, I agree. 5 is a bad card for the preflop aggressor. It's hard to imagine a lot of 5x in his range, but for Linus it is an opportunity to donk bet. And I believe he knows about this opportunity. So let's see. Let's see what he comes up with. Oh my god, how good this guy is. How good this guy is. He donk bets 7k. Oh, come on, man. At this point, every doc in the world knows that you can donk bet when a second card on the board pairs. Don't underestimate the guy. Okay, ST1 calls with the not flush draw. I say we for both players. Would be really easy for our viewers to watch my commentary, but nevertheless, Linus does not have a lot of boats here to represent. And it seems that 5 is a bad card for us, actually. Well, we have some check down value. We can win against King Queen. On one hand, yes, but on the other, will he give us an opportunity to check this one down? Because he knows that we don't have a lot of bows. Well, he checked just now. Oh yes, but yeah, and we split. Yeah, but I'm in the situation where he doesn't have an ace. But he has a hand like King Queen. Yeah, but it's not a great spot to bluff with an ace. Yeah, I'm not suggesting a bluff with an ace. Yeah, we have hands like 6-7 to bluff. Yeah, perfectly played hand again, double green mark. But yeah, but his facial expression showed that he's not happy about this one. Phua was yawning. Probably he was card dead for quite some time. Yeah, we just sit there and mock all the hands. Happens sometimes. Okay, Andy opens. Elizabeth plays really loose, so... oh, he actually folded this one. Didn't expect that. And we have ace queen suited. Yeah, and we still have less than 100 BBs in our stack. Well, money pressure, man, you know? Oh, come on, someone give him some money. Yeah, it seems that we have to work with what we have. Well, I think he's just going to fold this one. Well, at least he's supposed to. No, he calls. Well, it's a loose call, but he can afford it. He has enough money, I think. No one is giving him anything for free. He has to work for every pot. Yeah, it's not easy to win a pot in this lineup. Oh, that's a bad texture against an aggressive rec, because he can raise, he can bet, he can do a lot of stuff. And we really don't want to fold our hand, so I would check back here. Or maybe try to read his sizings on the following street, maybe call him down with ace high. Yeah, I would probably start with the check. The problem is that if we face a raise, we have to call it. And he may very well raise here. He's not going to raise jack 10, I believe. But he could have easily raised a hand like king 5, let's say. Linus thinking. Well, we don't have full stack. So, yeah, this is what we got. And he bets 40% pot after all. I think Andy is going to call this. Yeah, I don't think we can hope for a fold. And just in case, the c-bet is not a mistake. Oh, yeah. By the way, I didn't know. When I was talking about the raise on the flop, I didn't know that this is what actually happened. But yeah, when you play against an aggressive rec, you should expect a lot of raises on such a board. And following this logic, we have to call. Yeah, but the SPR is not that great. If we call here, the SPR on the turn is 1, and what do we do then? And this is why I would check the flop, because we don't know what to do after he raises. Okay, and what do you think about shoving ace queen here? Oh yeah, it is an option, but I don't really like it. Well, we deny some equity at least. I would call it and prepare myself for yet another rebuy. Yeah, Linus is clearly not happy. He's thinking, why did he even come here in the first place? Yeah, outplaying these offline guys is not an easy task. I think we should call. But he folds. Well, I think all the 3 options are available here for us. Yeah, but I claim inaccuracy on this one. And let's finish the first part on this hand. It takes way too long. The idea was to get this whole thing in one take. But now it seems that 2 parts is not enough even. Well, people may have questions here, because if we bet the flop, we should be prepared to call the raise. Because otherwise we put a lot of equity on fire. So it is illogical. Yeah, it is illogical. We either check or we bet and then we call, but we don't know how it was for him, right? Well, maybe he thought he has 100 BBs in his stack, but then when he faced a raise, he realized that SPR is going to be 1 on the turn, and then he thinks, why the hell did I bet in the first place? So it's much harder while you are at the table, but it's not the end of the world. It is an inaccuracy, definitely an inaccuracy, but yeah. Linus has 6 more hours of play ahead of him, and yeah, those first 3 hours were not easy at all. Definitely not easy. I hope that you will put the results in the end of how many hands Linus has actually nailed, and we will try to post this one as fast as possible. It is an experimental format for us, so let us know what you think. We are going to finish it anyways, I think, but we want your feedback, of course. Well, I really enjoyed doing this. Don't know about editing part, but yeah, well, you play offline as well. You can learn a lot from this. Yeah, and I can totally relate to what Linus is feeling right now, because I had a lot of those offline sessions with shame and despair. Yeah, the beginning was great, we doubled up, but then... Yeah, you have to rebuy, you don't have a full stack, you make a mistake, then you realize that you've made a mistake. and then you have to still play 7 more hours. So now we will see how the best player in the world is playing under pressure. Yes, all of this in the second episode.